Let me tell you a story one of my subscribers shared with me. Here it goes. My story is not anything new, but it might be a nugget of information for any other guy out there to avoid my situation. Learn me from me as a 40-year-old dad of 3 kids and currently divorced. So here's a little about me first. I used to be the alpha of the pack. I didn't know it at that time, but I was the guy leading everyone, taking initiative. I played the guitar, and I was a weightlifter. And back then my spouse was along for the ride. I loved her to death. She was an educated woman, and I also had a high-paying corporate job. Life was good. Then came the next thing. She said, "Let's have a kid." We had been married for 6 years then, and life was good, so I figured, why not? I loved the notion of having kids, so I agreed. During that time, I also wanted to start my own business. I had the money and the know-how, but any business comes with a risk, and so was this one. To make a long story short, I did that business for 5 years. 2 of those years went great, but the other were failures. Absolute failure. And there was no support from her. She was the queen of her life, and she didn't want to cut down her expenses or budget. She didn't want to and didn't need to, so our debts started piling up. Every time I'd make a plan to get out of that debt, and she'd make trouble again. Nothing too fancy, but enough to put us under the water. I never took the initiative, never opposed her on it. Suddenly she had a raise. She was earning 50% more than me. I was struggling to get by. I had a long-term client, but I was making nothing close to my old job. That's when the disrespect started. She had zero respect for me. I started taking care of the children. I was a good dad, but I no longer had the muscle I once was. I was balding. I had been reduced to a shell of a man with not an ounce of masculinity left. And then she started working out, obsessively. And at the gym is where she met him. Married for 15 years, but it wasn't enough for her. Looking back at it, I'd say she wanted a guy like that. A good-looking but dumb redneck. He didn't take any drama from her, and even though he made a lot less than her, it didn't matter. So our 15th anniversary, she jumped ship and left the kids. She chased after him. I pursued him. As a past IT guy, I found all about what they were doing in emails, messages, and texts. I was left emotionally destroyed. It took me months to fully recover. Great. Now that you heard this story, I have a few lessons for you. 1. Every woman has the capacity to do what his ex did. All of them. It's in their nature. The day they become dominant in their relationship and start making more they cut all ties and allegiances. They also have a ton of mental baggage and issues that you need to navigate as the man. If you let her to her devices, all she's going to wreak is havoc. 2. Some guys are going to say women are evil that way. Women are not evil. It's just their nature. You could explain to a woman logically all day about her mindset and what she's going to do, and she will never buy it. She will never accept it because women themselves do not know what they want. What is wrong with society is that men as a whole are willing to accept what women are. Society has, however, demonized man's true nature. Like women chase status and excellence and lose their attraction when a man loses status, men also chase women just for their looks and like engaging in competition and power talk. Society has demonized the part of a man's personality and hates him for that. That is what needs to change. 3. Love is not a scam. We just romanticize it too much. There are still nice women out there. You just need to find them and be careful which you pick. Some women are nice and will love you, but that love will be conditional, like everything. That is its definition. It's a struggle, a continuous project that contributes to the only purest non-conditional. Love is parent love. Every other love outside that is built on mutual trust and effort. If you want to feel the happy chemicals, you need to work for it. But love is a real thing. It's just not a bed of roses. 4. I've known men who have been reduced to shells by their wives. They never initiate conflict when it's really needed. They will tell me, "Hey, if I tell her that she's really going to lose it, If she holds so much power over you in the relationship, you should as well dye your hair and start taking care of the children. If you're so scared of your wife to tell her a word or two, are you even a man? That's like a boy who's afraid his mom's going to be super mad because he came home late. 5. Women have emotions like a roller coaster. You won't find a woman with a hot body and the logical capacity of a man. Even making an attempt to rationalize her emotions or try and implement a pattern to them is futile. You can't logically predict them or even guide her out of them because she's just going to create newer and newer issues, complicating the situation so much you end up frustrated. They're always feeling different things at different times. That's how they operate, by plain feeling. Most of the time she doesn't even believe what she is really saying. They're nuts that way. When you go out there and really start hearing the stories, you start to understand why Western men have started to fear marriage. They're afraid they're going to end up like roommates in their own house. They're afraid they're going to keep around to keep the cash flowing and do the heavy lifting while she sits around in makeup all day doing nothing. They're afraid because any advice they're going to get about their marriage is going to be about being nice to your woman and treating her like she's a god. It's like society as a whole has lost its masculinity and dignity. They're afraid that while they are out there breaking their back, she's back at home spewing vile stuff about their dad. They're afraid of watching their children grow up resenting their dad for what he did to their mom, because mom knows best and indoctrinated her from childhood. They're afraid of being at the end of their wits, but be unable to initiate a conflict or even touch her once, because God knows it's going to take a second for her to become the divorce victim when all she did was moan and create drama. And when all of that is done and wrapped, still have their finances with a now ugly fat 40-year-old divorced woman who never did a thing in her life, lived a luxurious life, and didn't have an ounce of gratefulness for it. That's it for today. If you like this video, share it with your buddies as well. Give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video.